a little bit about your dreams before this accident. Where did you think life was going to take you?
Uh, I definitely had big dreams when I was growing up. I always wanted to be a runway model.
Mm,
Uh, I'm super tall, so
yeah.
that was always my dream, and it was what I was actually pursuing, trying to do when I had my accident.
Mm.
I was driving back and forth to Denver, which is 4 hours away from where I live, and um I had got up that morning, went to work super early, and then drove to Denver, and then was turning around after an interview to drive back home. And
Mm.
that's when it happened, was in the middle of the night because I was exhausted. But dreams, yeah, I've always had huge, big dreams
Mm.
to go to Milan, Italy.
Hello, my name is Erica Davidson. Welcome to my channel. I create content that supports people with disabilities to find employment as well as maintain employment. And I also highlight people with disabilities who are already doing amazing things, whether it's volunteering or they're in the workplace. And today I have the incredible pleasure of meeting with Jordanne Menzies, who I'm just meeting for the first time today, so I'm really excited because all of you are going to get to know her at the same time as I am. And Jordanne is in a really interesting place because not only does Jordanne have a disability, she also coaches and encourages people with disabilities in what I'm about to find out, I believe, is the business that she's in right now. So let's go ahead and get started. Thank you so much, Jordanne, for being with me today.
Yes, absolutely. I am so happy to be here.
Yeah, this is great. So you and I connected on one of the Facebook pages that we both belong to, which is about people in the workplace with disabilities.
Uh-huh.
And I saw a post of yours saying that you do exactly like you do that. You coach people with disabilities around getting employment. Is that right?
Yes, yes. I do have an online business at home, and I do like my mission is to help those with disabilities to be able to do what I do, work from home, have that income coming in, not have to worry and stress about bills, and can actually live a life that they love.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. Like having purpose, right? And yeah,
Yes.
and just feeling fulfilled. And like you're saying, having some financial independence as well. So
Yes.
I'm really excited to be able to start unpacking all of that through these questions that I prepared to ask Jordanne. And so I'm going to ask all of these questions. We're, of course, going to veer all over the place and hopefully learn so much. I want to start out also, I want to just add that Jordanne actually lives in the US. So some of the things that Jordanne talks about are going to apply to you if you live not only in the US and her country, but also state by state is also very different if things come up. So Jordanne, do you just mind telling us like what area you're from?
So I live in Colorado in the US.
Okay. And so it's really important for people to know that because even in Canada, which is where I'm from province to province, things change. But I think overall, the idea of helping people with disabilities to have financial security and independence as much as possible, as well as just knowing that there are usually supports. They just might look different, and it might be different how you go about getting them. But I think the overall theme and heart behind what both Jordanne and I are doing is the same. Doesn't matter what country you come from. Right?
No, not at all.
Right. All right. Awesome. So we're going to start with you, Jordanne, just telling us a little bit about yourself, your background, who you are, your family, all that kind of stuff.
Okay, yeah. So I am 39 years old. I have been in a wheelchair for 20 years now. I fell asleep driving when I was 18 and have been paralyzed from my chest up ever since. So all I can move are my shoulders and my head. Um, so it took me a long time to, be okay with the situation, to figure it out.
Yeah.
but I absolutely love life.
Mm.
There's just so much beauty to it, and I got a second chance at living it, and I think that that is amazing.
That's incredible, Jordan. Like that in itself could just be um, one video just talking about being 18. That's such a like, right, being 18 and going through what you went through, that's such a prime time in life. I'm reminded of Johnny Erickson Tata, who had a swimming accident when she was 17 and ended up a paraplegic as well. And like, yeah, you're just on the cusp. You've probably had so many dreams. Tell me a little bit about your dreams before this accident. Where did you think life was going to take you?
Uh, I definitely had big dreams when I was growing up. I always wanted to be a runway model.
Mm,
Uh, I'm super tall, so
yeah.
that was always my dream, and it was what I was actually pursuing, trying to do when I had my accident. I was driving back and forth to Denver, which is 4 hours away from where I live, and um I had got up that morning, went to work super early, and then drove to Denver, and then was turning around after an interview to drive back home. And
Mm,
that's when it happened, was in the middle of the night because I was exhausted. But dreams, yeah, I've always had huge, big dreams
mm,
to go to Milan, Italy, be a model there. And,
mm.
you know, now I just get to be a model in a different way, and that's okay.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And like you're saying, it took you a while to get to that place. And one thing I think is really encouraging about being able to have this interview is I am sure, and perhaps we'll talk about it a little, well, we do later when I talk about some of the things or people that motivate you or had motivated you. That so just like people who are hearing this, and maybe that young person, maybe they're not young, they just happen to be young in their disability, they're that just hearing that is hopefully going to propel them to know that, like propel them forward and help them to know that there is hope, right? It's not all doom and gloom when something happens.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep, there's always hope. That's wonderful. So, okay, so here you are, and I won't stay here for too long, but I am really curious for that person. So here you are, you're 18, you've had this accident. Um, I think it would be fair to say it's not like you, I don't know, were you in a coma for a while? And just sort of take us just a little bit through the progression of you coming to the awareness of, oh, wow, life is totally different.
Yeah. So, waking up in the hospital with tubes all around you, you're on so many meds that you don't even really realize what's going on. I remember them telling me that I'm paralyzed. I couldn't move my body, just laying there. And honestly, I don't really even remember what thoughts I had at that point. Um, I just remember that I I was not in a coma. I was in a hospital, the ICU for a little bit, and then I went to a rehab hospital for about 3 months. And they really taught me how to live life in a wheelchair, but they didn't teach me anything beyond that.
Right.
So like they didn't give me very good physical therapy at all.
Mm.
Um I feel like I kind of got screwed in that area, excuse me, but um they
Yep.
just really taught me how to live like this. And I saw the psychologist a
Mhm.
few times, and he was like, well, I don't really need to see you anymore, you seem to be doing really good. So I just kind of took it as, this is life. I either get to choose to be miserable or choose
Mm.
to be happy. And seeing my family all around me all the time, I smiled all the time. And it wasn't just for me, it was for them.
Mm.
I didn't want them to be sad because this happened to me, even though I was sad this happened to me. Yeah, I spent a long time crying and grieving. I mean, you grieve over your life. You've lost absolutely everything. So, you have to start over at life, living it a different way with a new identity
Mm.
because you're no longer walking. Now you're in a chair. People look at you differently. People talk to you differently. You know, your entire life and world is completely different. So I just, by the time I made it back home, you know, 3, 4 months later, I spent a lot of time sitting outside, just reflecting and meditating and trying to figure out my new life and my new world. And a year after my accident, I started back at college. I decided that, you know, I'm not just going to sit here and waste away. I want to do something with my life regardless of my situation. So I decided to, you know, pursue college, and I got my degree in early childhood education because I was like, I could be a teacher. You know, that's something that I could do. And I am a teacher now. It's not my passion anymore, but um it has been quite a different ride. You know, I think just getting through those years of pain and hurt and just trying to find your purpose and figure out why you're still here and why did this happen, and I think I just decided to choose to be happy and decided to not live in the past, because if you keep living in the past, you're never going to move forward.
Yeah, that is so powerful. I hope that you've had, I don't even know this. Have you done motivational speaking? Have you had a chance to be in front of a group of people and talk about this?
No, it is kind of on my list of goals
Great.
to do. I was Miss Wheelchair Colorado in 2017. So that was fun and exciting,
That's awesome.
but yeah, no, that is on my list of things that I would like to do.
That's great. So that Miss Wheelchair Colorado, obviously all around modeling and like,
No,
okay,
so yeah, the wheelchair platforms are all about advocacy.
okay.
So about your mission and advocating for whatever you believe in
Well,
and
I
feel.
still think it's wonderful that you got that title, and it's so closely related to the same sort of title. So either way, like you're saying, you're just role modeling in a different way, right?
Yes, exactly.
I think that's awesome. Wow, because you mentioned so many things in your story that you just mentioned. One of the big themes is around choice, like making your will. You are deciding. You have to make an active choice to say, okay,
Yeah.
either I can live this way or I can live that way. And I think that is so incredibly powerful. And I remember, I think, and I don't know if people who feel like maybe who have been in an accident like you feel like they're just catapulted that into that area faster than maybe other people, maybe forces you into it. But I remember actually being in the same situation in my life. I think I was about 19 years old, and I had a counselor identify to me that one, I was in control of my life, and two, I had choices now around different things, but still, it was such a powerful, pivotal moment in my life. It's empowering.
Yes.
Yeah. To not let something or someone else control your life. But no, all right, I'm going to own this. This is what I'm going to do. That's fantastic. So you mentioned your family as well. I caught a snippet of some of your YouTube channels last night, or your YouTube videos. I'm really glad I did. I realized they're older, but you had a lot to say about like your mom and dad. They were obviously very instrumental and probably still are in your life, right? So tell us about your family and the support around you.
Oh, support means everything. When something like this happens to you, your support system is what gets you through, you know, what makes your life better. My parents, my family, they've all been amazing in with everything They have helped adapt, and, they take me places. I still get to travel and do things with the family, and it's fun. And they're my rock. They take care of me, and they push me to be better as well. So
Love that.
I've seen that as well, that people that don't have that support struggle a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that those support systems need to be out there
Yeah,
for others.
absolutely. I think that's the one major common theme in the people that I've had the opportunity to interview so far is the family support that's around them. The family support who, yes, takes their disability into consideration, but like you're saying, it's not the end all be all. It doesn't define you as a person. But what do we need to do to accommodate? And then, like, making you part of the family still, going on the family vacations. How do we make this happen so that Jordanne isn't left behind, but she's still one of us? And
Yeah.
I think that says a lot about your will and where you're at.
Yeah. And, I smiled for everybody else so that they wouldn't be sad. But, my life's not the only one that changed. Their life changed too.
Yeah, that's incredibly mature. And it sounds like you actually realized that right away because you
Yeah.
were smiling for them. That's incredible because and rightfully so. Like when I say what I'm about to say, please know if you're watching this, it's not judgment. But I can appreciate somebody really feeling sorry for themselves. Like you're talking about, there is a grief, there's a huge grief, a major grieving process that I'm not even really sure that we give a lot of credit to when somebody goes through this kind of change, right? Everybody's so focused on how do we just help you be as normal as you can again. Let's right from therapy, like let's just see what you can do. And like the world doesn't slow down enough to say what's going on inside, right? Yeah. So that's a huge level of maturity, though. You'll get to a point when you realize, gosh, everybody else lost out too. Everybody else was affected by this. Their dreams and desires for you, or now their schedules change because they're helping take care of you and all those things, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's a huge piece. So family is critical, support is critical, and those people taking care of themselves. Because when I was watching one of your videos, and gosh, we'll probably have to come back together again and talk about caretakers and caregivers because you were alluding to the break. They can't do it all, right?
Right.
Yeah, they need a break. All right, so I've got some more questions here, and I've been letting my phone charge a little bit. So I'm like, what else was I gonna? Okay, so you talked about having an accident. So my next question then is, of course, like, what is your disability? We know that you weren't born with it, but tell us about your disability overall.
Well, I broke my neck, so I'm a quadriplegic. I can move, my shoulders and up. That's it. So, my wheelchair is my legs. It's how I get around. I use this stick that's in my face to type on my phone. Use the TV remote and my tablet. I also have a button for the back door that I can open and close to go in and out for me and the dog. But yeah, it's just, it's life now.
All right. And you do have caregivers though, that come and go. You're not always with a caregiver.
No.
Okay.
No.
You live independently.
I do.
I think it's fantastic. I think the autonomy, like at the beginning, we were talking about financial autonomy. I know that I'm a person who would also really appreciate my own physical living space. And so, like, some people are okay. Some people don't mind. They're like, yeah, I want more people around me. But yeah, you might be a little bit more like me in that way that you're like, oh, I just want to be by myself.
Yes, I absolutely love my alone time. That's just like my time to reset because I'm very much an introvert. Yes. And so, yeah, when I talk to people or when I'm at work or, stuff, I like to come home to my quiet house that nobody's here, like my peace and quiet. I've always been an independent person. So I try to be as independent as possible now.
Yep. And I love that too, that you just mentioned, I've always been an independent person. So I just did an interview with a young lady. She'll love it if I say her name. Her name is Sarah Burgess. And one day she'll be a superstar if she's not already. But I just did an interview with her. And one of the things I love that she said is that she's still the same person on the inside. She's still the same person, right? And yet we can have human beings, we will look on the outside and we forget that somehow. Like, yeah. But I think what's probably helped you perhaps is that you are obviously strong-willed, independent, and that goes a long way, right?
Yes, it does. Yeah. And that, that you're the same person on the inside. You are. I mean, yes, I wouldn't be the person though that I am today if this didn't happen to me.
Yeah.
I can't honestly imagine what my life would be like if this didn't happen to me.
In what way? Is there some way specifically? Like I had somebody else I was interviewing. His name is Kyle Hanna. You can check out his interview as well. And he mentioned that, so he ended up with an acquired brain injury, which I can say here because he's done an interview with me and you can find it on my channel there. But he mentioned how it actually humbled him to go through his accident. So in what way do you say that this accident has changed you in your personality, maybe?
Just the things that I have learned, the things that I've learned about life, about living, like you said, those choices, things that you take for granted that you no longer do anymore because you realize life is fragile. It could end in an instant. It's just all those things that you learn through it, you grow through it, that makes you such a good person.
Awesome. Yep. You just carry those along with you in your day to day. And like you're saying, you wouldn't necessarily have carried those along with you, or you would have maybe learned them differently, or you would have learned them later, right?
Yeah.
It would have been a different situation for sure. Yeah. So I'm really curious around the, because I love my alone time as well. And I always wondered about somebody when they have caregivers. So I don't know if you've ever heard of Nick Vujicic, but he's the guy with no arms and no legs. And he has a ministry called No Limits, No Limbs, No Limits, or something like that. And so when he gets up, when he wakes up, there's literally somebody like right there over him, passing him water, giving him whatever he needs, because he's got no arms and no legs at all. And yes, you're in a situation where you can't use your arms and legs, right? Yeah. So I just wondered, so for somebody like me who loves my alone time, private time, you must establish rules with your caretakers that are like, if I don't feel like talking, we just don't talk. Or what does that look like for you?
I'm a really I have a lot of patience. I'm really easygoing, really, just nice to be around. I mean, they can feel my energy, they can see it on my face. If I don't feel good, they know. They know that, I tell them I'm not a morning person. Please don't, come in loudly. Just little things like that. But when you have a caregiver and you really connect with them, because they take care of your personal needs on a very intimate, in a way, level. That you get to really just know each other and your energies and stuff. So
yep, fair enough. That's great. I guess it would be like any relationship, really. Like you're saying, right? Any sort of relationship, and it's like, yeah, we gotta work on this together.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for like, I just had this little curiosity, like, what would that be like to have, right? To have that, like, somebody who's always there. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see. Now I realize, like, so you, of course, were an able-bodied person. Is that like politically correct? Is that what somebody who is quadriplegic, would say? You were an able-bodied person, okay, thank you, before 18 and just before that, all those years before that. And do you even know now if you say, hey, what was the world like for you then? Are you just so used to things now? You've grown, you are where you're at. But I mean, I realized at the beginning, it must have been really frustrating. But what is it like now navigating an able-bodied person's world? Because we can put as much, the words just gone, just left me, accommodations. We can put as many accommodations and all that, but still, there's always that thing that comes up that it's just not accommodating. So what's it like for you navigating that world?
It can be difficult. It really can. When you want to be included in stuff, but you can't because that accessibility isn't there, that inclusion isn't there. It does make living life out in the world difficult.
Yeah.
But it's not impossible.
Yeah.
Maybe you just can't go to that restaurant. Okay, well then we'll go to a different one that is accommodating.
Awesome.
The restaurant's missing out, not you.
Yeah, that's right. You'll figure it out. And it sounds like, of course, the more that these type of conversations happen, and like that you're doing the work that you do and vice versa, that hopefully we will have that accessibility. Yeah, for sure. Talking about it's really important. And that's why I wanted to bring that up, is what is it like, navigating? So do you remember when you look back, do you remember going, having those moments of, oh yeah, you think I can do that, but nope, I can't do that anymore in those early days?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all part of the learning.
Yeah. It's tough. One of my favorite things to do growing up was swim. I can't swim anymore. So,
yeah.
Can I float in the water? Yeah. I
Yeah.
just have to be around water differently.
Yeah. All right.
So
great points. Yeah. Just do it differently, right? Again, finding a way to make it work and then doing it. Okay. Now we're going to get into work. Thank you so much for sharing all that information about your disability, Jordanne. I really appreciate that and kind of where you're at now. It's awesome. And
yeah,
so,
absolutely.
yeah. So your work. Okay. So there you were, 18 years old, have dreams of becoming a model. Before you are before talking about where you're at right now with your coaching and helping people, had you done or thought, had you done other work? Like, what does your resume look like after 18?
Oh, yeah. I didn't work for several years. Part of that because I didn't know what I could do.
Sure.
Part of that because, that goes along with what you're not able to do, but what accommodations are out there that people will hire you, different things like that. Like when I decided to go into early childhood education, I'd go do my observations in different classrooms and the teachers would just look at me like, why are you even here? You just got that feeling of you're not going to be able to do this. Like, I don't understand why you're here, but you just have to keep pushing through that and knowing that someone will see your worth and someone will believe in you and someone will give you a chance.
Yeah. It really is about, again, having the conversation, educating people, educating employers, talking about what your strengths and your skills and your abilities are, aside from, like you're saying, what you're not able to do, but let's focus on what you can do and how does that support the employer and how can we still get the job done?
Yes.
So, yeah. Yep. So, okay. And I have to wonder too, would you say if you look back on, if we look back on 20 years ago, so sorry, how old are you now?
39.
39. So then, and so, yeah, 20 years ago, the conversation was a lot different than it is now.
Very much so.
And tell us a little bit about that from your point of view.
You know, a lot has happened in the last 20 years as far as accessibility and the ADA and inclusion out in the world, in the workforce. You know, that's huge. Things are changing. It's so amazing to see it happen.
Yeah.
You know, employers are realizing that just because we look different doesn't mean that we can't use our brains or, you know, do the job. So
yeah, that's right. That they're seeing that, and there still is a long way to go, but it's different, it's better. But they're seeing that, oh yeah, my person doesn't have to look like this, and this, and just because they do look like this, and this, doesn't mean they're going to be the ideal candidate, right?
yeah.
And I think also, and you probably agree, especially based on the type of work that you're doing, that technology has increased what people with disabilities can do as well.
Yes, yes. It's amazing. You know, I mean, 20 years ago, I didn't have a cell phone.
Yep.
No, there was no Facebook. There was no networking, no, you know, reaching out, no, you didn't know people in your area that were the same as you,
Yeah.
you know, or anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So to at least have something in common with someone to talk to them about the same issues and get that support initially. And yeah. So.
Absolutely. And then, like you're saying, having people who aren't able to get out as easily out in the community, and now they can come online, they can get the supports, whether it's through Facebook or whatever people are with, whoever they're with, or watching YouTube channels, or and say yourself doing your coaching, which I'm excited to get into a little bit more, is like you can do that online. You can meet with people all over the world, and you don't have to leave your apartment or your house.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's also helpful too, the technology inside the homes, you know, like I can tell it to turn the light on or the fan on, or, you know, you can tell it to turn the heat up and down. Like there's so many things that makes living independently more possible with those technologies.
Yeah, so true. And I remember hearing in one of your videos last night too, that you had mentioned having your phone close by, but that you can literally now, you can speak to the phone too, right? And you were saying that in the video, that you can say, hey, call mom. Like,
yeah.
And then there it is. Like, yeah, it's just incredible. You're absolutely right. And delivery, Amazon, like anything like that helps us all in some way, shape, or form. But hey, especially when there's like the weather is awful, and I'm sure, and like, right, and you've got to go out in a chair, and yeah, like just all of that stuff, trying to get through a sidewalk, stuff people don't think about, right? Yeah. Okay, that's great. Nope. Yeah, I'm really glad to see definitely technology and the conversation has shifted. Employers are definitely more open. So, okay. Yep. Sorry, did I cut you off, Jordanne?
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. Now, all right, now's the time we actually get into what you're doing right now. And I want to know all about it. And I want to know when it started and what made you start it.
Okay, before I became a teacher, I had my degree, but with, you know, like I said, going through like observations and stuff like that, and seeing teachers not believe in me, not have faith in me that I was going to be able to do the job, I kind of wasn't ready to go out and look for a job. But being an independent person, I enjoy being financially independent as well. So I mean, I always have been. And so I was on Facebook, you know, and I saw an opportunity of working from home. And I thought, yay, that would be amazing. Right? So it's the network marketing, those MLMs, you start at the bottom.
Mhm.
And the first couple of companies I was with, I struggled. Um, Probably spent more money on products than I actually made.
I've been
That's
there.
typical, the
Yeah,
typical thing with those companies, right?
yeah.
Um, but I kept sticking with it, and I learned a lot
Mm.
about about that industry,
Mhm.
about how to show up on social media, about how to, turn your social media into your storefront, how, it's your business. And I found an amazing company that in the last year has taught me way more than I ever knew about sales and online marketing.
Mhm.
And it's been incredible. And my mission, is to help others who want to be financially independent work from home and online. Because if I can do it with a mouth stick in my mouth, then so can you, you know?
Yeah.
And I love helping people. So
Hmm. That's incredible and so encouraging. So, are you able to tell us like what the company is?
yeah, I can say it. It's Enagic.
Okay, because I'm not even familiar with that as you say it. I've never now it's probably the states, or is it specifically Colorado? Do you know?
We are worldwide.
Worldwide. So I'm just living under a rock. Okay. All right.
So anybody from anywhere can do this.
All right. Okay. And
Yeah.
so with what you're doing, are you specifically so you're coaching people, your goal is to coach people with disabilities around this company? Is that kind
Yeah.
of, do I have that right? Okay. All right. So you have a specific group that you want to target to help because you want to help them become financially independent. That's
Yes.
great. Now, and I might have missed this. I'm sorry, how long ago did you start this?
With this company, I've been with it for a year.
All right. And it's proving promising for you? Oh, go ahead.
No, it's okay. In the whole field, I've been in it for probably like 5 years.
Okay. Yep. All right. And so, and you feel like this last year, has it gone really well for you? Are you building up? As you're reaching out to people like I see you doing, are you feeling like people are connecting to you and it's working out
Yeah,
well?
absolutely, absolutely. It's the best thing ever. Um, people think, oh, it's sales. I'm not a salesperson. I can't do that. You're either trained or you're untrained.
Mm-hmm.
So you can learn it and choose to want to change your life or not, and that's okay.
Yeah, yeah. And well, and I think when I think about sales, I think the harder lesson of sales to teach anybody would be just the ability to build relationships and make connection with people. But if you already have that, if you just have a genuine interest in meeting new people and learning about them, everything
Yeah,
else can come, right?
yeah,
Yeah. And I absolutely love the idea, like you're saying, of the independence, both around your schedule and because we know people, and I realize when I say this, I'm not just meaning people with disabilities, but that there are people with disabilities who it just takes them longer to get going in the day because of their disability, or they can't work for as long in the day because of their disability. So being connected to a company like you're saying, it sounds like it allows that autonomy of schedule, and and then you can sort of build your life around that.
yeah. Because even being a teacher, um, sorry, my dog's eating my plant. Rocco,
That's all
stop.
right.
Sorry. Okay. Um, yeah. So even, yeah, being in the workforce, being a teacher, I've been a teacher for 5 years now, and my health is not as good as it used to be 5 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard for me to be there all day long.
Mhm.
I get sick a lot because of the germy kids. That's not good for me. That takes me out longer, you know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I would just prefer to work from home in the comfort and be as warm as I want
Yeah.
and,
Mhm.
you know, and
Yep.
still be able to do a job.
For sure. That's great. And I think that that's really important. Now, I realize I skimmed over your teacher career a little bit. I'm going to go back to that in a minute, but I
That's
do
okay.
want I do want to say I was just excited to hear about what you were doing. We talked about control and choices. So what I and then having purpose, right? And I think what's really important on these interviews and in these interviews is again giving people hope and to say to people like, you know, if you're watching this and maybe you are not quadriplegic like Jordanne, maybe you've had a disability your whole life, or maybe again you're 50 and you just got your disability. But the thing is, I think what Jordanne, what you're really talking about here is creating your own life and realizing that there are a lot of options. It doesn't just have to be the Monday to Friday 9 to 5 job anymore, where you need to have both legs and arms because you're the postal worker. Like there's so many options, and you're just what you're offering here is one of those options.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep, I think that's incredible. Okay, I want to go back now because I did skim over it. So you got your teaching degree, and then um, I don't think I realized, I remember you were talking about your placements, things weren't really going well. You weren't viewed as somebody who could really contribute. Did you end up using that teaching degree then? You've actually taught, have you? And you go ahead, you take your time.
Yeah, sorry, what was your question?
Oh, so like you had your teaching degree and the placements weren't going well and all that stuff. And then did you actually end up using your teaching degree? Like you were teaching for a bit?
Yeah, I still am.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. So,
Yeah, so I
mhm,
decided that, you know, those couple of companies that I was with and the network marketing thing that wasn't working, I was like, okay, I guess, you know, let me look around and see what teaching jobs are out there. And I applied at a couple of them. I had a couple of interviews. And then I had an interview at this amazing preschool and they hired me and they made me feel welcome and they made me feel like I was able to do my job there. And
that's wonderful.
so it has been a wonderful. They are amazing still to this day.
Mhm,
And I'm not to gloat on myself, but I am
mhm.
one of the favorite employees. So.
Yeah. Yep. That's, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I feel like okay, I want to know a little bit more about that. So I'm really curious about this because I think people need to hear this and employers need to hear this. So tell us what your job looks like as a preschool teacher and a quadriplegic. How do you do this job?
You know, I do get asked that a lot.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I just do it.
I
I
love it.
go with, you know, the kids respond to me. I like the older kids. They're a little easier to work with than the younger ones, but you know, they respond to me, they listen to me. I teach them what they need to teach. I have either my caregiver with me or an assistant in the classroom. So, you know, I just run my classroom like it should be ran and
Mm-hmm.
the
Yep.
job done.
Well, and because you think about it, I'm going to say that 99.9% of that job is going to be communication, relational, making the children feel special,
Yep.
right? And so that you build that relationship so that they know that, hey, I can rely on Miss Jordan. She's going to be here for me. I can trust her. And it's also exerting your authority so that they know that you're also an authoritarian. So it doesn't matter. So I guess like I'll ask this. So is there, and this is again for people to understand. So in the job that you have, are there children that need to be changed or they're like change diapers? Are they have to be out of diapers?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So the preschool I work in is essentially a daycare. So we have, you know, from infant all the way up to 6 years old. Um, but yeah, there are kids that need change. So that's what
right.
the floats and the assistants are for.
All right. All right. That's awesome. So they have that support in place already.
Yeah.
And then what I love about this too, wouldn't this should just be, this is so wonderful because those kids that are in that daycare are already they're like one step ahead in life. Unfortunately, right, that they would be around somebody who is not walking around like everybody else, but you're in a wheelchair and they can also help. Right? If they felt like, oh, I want to hold the door for Miss Jordanne or whatever it is, right? That makes them feel like everybody's working together, right?
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Mhm.
Yes, I get to expose these children at young ages that people with disabilities are still okay and that we are still people and we're not scary and you can still, interact with us and help us, and they love helping. So
Love it. And isn't that where it begins that like, so at my age, at 49, I'm older than you, but at 49, I um I would go, okay, I know to ask, how are you able to do this job in a daycare? But those kids would probably go, what do you mean? Why are you asking that? Right?
yeah,
Because it's now part of their culture, it's part of the norm.
yeah,
And that's how we would want it to be. Just be like,
yeah.
yeah, of course you can do it. So awesome. I
Mhm.
love it. I love that. So, okay, so you do that and your small business on the side.
Yeah, which I'm hoping to turn my small business on the side to my full-time business.
Yep. Yep.
That's my goal.
Awesome. I can totally appreciate that. I just left employment coaching after 24 years in December. I left it. I was feeling really tired of it. And now just want to run my small business too. So I can totally appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going on to what do you think? What is the most helpful thing that your supervisor or coworkers? We'll focus on your daycare and then you can talk about also your small business, but working in the preschool, what's been the most helpful thing that they have done in the past or currently do?
Um, you know what? I would have to say the most helpful thing is being flexible with my schedule.
Awesome.
That's a huge thing for those of us with disabilities, like you said, that can't be there all day or need a break here or there. And they've been amazing with being flexible with my schedule.
That's great. And to be honest, I'm of the mindset that our world of work in general needs to be more flexible. I'm a real advocate for
Yeah.
flexibility, for mental health, for family reasons. Yeah, yeah, I get it. We need to have staff there at a certain time, especially in a daycare, because parents are working, children are there. But obviously, your employer has proven that flexibility is possible if we all are willing to work together and make it
Yes.
happen. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
And I mean, my coworkers, they do little things for me. Like if we go out on the playground and I need my sunglasses on, I can just ask them to put them on,
Yep.
or if it's too cold, I can have them zip my coat up, or, just little things like that they help with. And it makes your day better
Yeah.
and just happier.
You know what I think about? I think about how you are in a position that you actually get to build really neat, not always wonderful, I'm sure, and I'm not trying to paint a perfect picture. God knows I'm sure you've had struggles I could only imagine. But when I hear you say that, build relationship with coworkers or other people that I wouldn't necessarily have, to say my sunglasses or put this on. I could see there also being a lot of laughs in that. And also like just to have to rely on people in a different way. And it actually is a gift for that person that gets to help you too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Cause, I remember, 3 years ago coming to work, I would still show up to work even though I was sick because I knew that they needed me.
mm,
And You know, it was at a time where my lungs were congested and I couldn't breathe. And my boss had to come in and help me cough. And she's just like, what do you need me to do? I'll help you. You know,
That's
it's just
incredible.
those little
That's
things that
incredible.
just help.
Yeah. Good for you. Good for you. I think that's wonderful. Yeah. And you know what? I bet you I wanna be able to, and you're just giving me a thought that, so whenever I'm doing this, I ask everybody that question. What are your coworkers or your supervisor? What have they done? But I'm starting to realize that I would love to ask them about the same question about you, right? Like, what do you bring to the table and how have you helped them and made a difference in their life? Because we often think about the person with the disability as the person who needs all the help. And yet, look at how much you're giving just in this one interview. The encouragement, the hope, the I can do it attitude, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I should start getting people to say, I want you to ask your supervisors and your coworkers this before we meet, so then you can tell me what they said. So you'll have to ask them, Jordanne, and I'll make sure
Well,
to put it up.
you know, I probably already know. So,
Okay, what would they say? What have they said to you that you bring to the table for them?
you know, I have a lot of knowledge in what I do. You
Mhm.
know, I bring the teamwork. I'm sometimes my boss's backbone when something
Mm,
needs to happen there, and
yep,
you know, I stand behind her on things, and
yep,
you know, I show up. I'm there. I help the kids. You know, those are the things that they love and value about me.
yep. Awesome. Incredible. See, well, if you're listening to this right now, you heard it yourself that Jordanne, who is quadriplegic, can still help run a daycare when her boss isn't around, and she can take care of all the kids and do all that she needs to do to be part of that team. I
Yep.
love that. I love that. Awesome. Okay. So what would you tell, actually, we're towards the end here, but
Hey.
I'll also give you a chance to say anything else you want to. But my last specific question is, what would you tell to somebody else who is wanting to work, wanting to go out on their own and do a small business? They have a disability and they're really afraid of it, feeling anxious. How would you encourage them? What would you say?
You know, I think that you just have to go for it. You just have to decide to do it. No matter how scary it is, no matter, you know, what things may come up, because if you don't, then you'll always still be in the same situation. So it's about, again, that choice. Do you want to improve your life? Do you want to do something different? Do you want to impact others' lives? Or are you okay staying where you're at?
Yeah. You said, oh, go ahead, Jordan.
And even though, you know, maybe nobody else believes in you, you have to believe in yourself.
Mm. You said something there. Absolutely. Like, believe in yourself, regardless. I have definitely been in more than more than one spots, or had that in my life more than once, where I had to make really big things too, where it was like, I've got to decide to, something just popped up on my screen, where I need to believe in myself, regardless of what everybody else thinks, and whether they believe the same way as me or not. And also when you said, like, or you'll just be in the same spot. So it's sort of like, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got.
Yep.
Right. Sort
Yep.
of like, too, like counting your blessings. What do you have? And build from there, move from there. What do you have? What can you do? And then move from there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And be grateful. Be grateful for
Oh,
what
yeah.
you have.
Yeah, that's huge. I think gratefulness,
Yeah.
also, like, that frees up your mind, your heart, your soul, even though your body is not necessarily freed up, but you can get freed up on the inside a lot more, right?
Yes.
Yeah. This has been so amazing, Jordanne. I absolutely love this. I could sit here and just do like a motivational thing with you, just encourage
Right?
people.
We can do that sometime. Let me know.
Yeah. I think that would be great. And regardless, I think that would be really good for regardless of whether somebody has a disability or not. But because what I'm hearing you say, and what I hear a lot of the people that I'm talking to say, is that our thinking will hold us back more than our physical abilities or disabilities.
Yes, I agree.
And so I think that's the case no matter what, whether you're able-bodied or not. It's here that makes a huge difference.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And what are we feeding ourselves? Who are we hanging out with? You know, what are we listening to? You know, are we listening, to people who say you can, or are we listening to people who say you can't? So,
Yep.
oh, thank you so much. Jordanne, before I close off here, and you don't have any pressure, you've already given us a lot. Is there any last final word? And it's all right if you don't, as I say, no pressure. But
You know, if you don't have that support system, go out and find one.
take control of it.
Yeah, have that gratitude of what you have. You're still here on this earth. You know, it might be hard to find your purpose, but you have one.
I love
And
that.
you are capable of doing anything you put your mind to.
Yeah, awesome. That's right. I totally agree. I totally believe that as well. If you are still here, you have a purpose, and it's important, and it's valuable. And yes, find your support system. Like you're saying, Jordanne, you can sit there and feel sorry for yourself and say, oh, nobody cares about me. Or you can take responsibility for that and go find that support system, right? That might not be easy, but you got to go find it and get that help. All right. This has been great, guys. I plan on bringing Jordanne back. Of course, we're going to do one about just inspiring. And maybe another thing just before we go, is there a way, and I can put it in the description too, but is there a way for people to get in touch with you, Jordanne, about the business opportunity that you have?
Yes, absolutely. Instagram or Facebook, Jordanne Menzies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. And you can see the spelling of her name. You'll see it. This will be part of the recording. So the spelling of her name is right there at the bottom of the screen, Jordanne Menzies. Okay. So that's great. Thank you so much for joining me, Jordanne. I appreciate that. I appreciate all of you today for listening and watching. And I have this fly that keeps flying around my face. So I'm not waving it. It's right there. You've probably seen it. But thank you. If you enjoyed this content, you enjoyed this interview with Jordanne, feel free, please, to subscribe. Of course, hit that notification bell so you know when I upload new content, new interviews. Of course, if you would like to be interviewed, I would love to hear from you. You can email me at info@plotsoflove.ca, which, by the way, is the email for my cemetery gardening business, which all of these videos are brought to you by. We help people to honor their loved ones who are laid to rest in the Niagara region. Then you can find out more about us at plotsoflove.ca. Thank you so much. And Jordanne, I really appreciate you. So
thank you for having me on.
All right. I look forward to seeing all of you again. And everybody, take care.